a bookshelf tour. This edition of some of Tolstoy's work. This one is also signed as well. So this book was the book that we were going through when we were doing marriage counseling, and I didn't realize that the seller I had bought it from on Facebook had annotated it. My parents won a trip through the rock radio station and brought that back from France. I've kind of done a bit of a rainbow shelf here. This is honestly probably one of my favorite shelves. Two more Cherry Blossom Sunny Angels. I absolutely love these editions of Throne of Glass. Two of my favorite books that I own. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if you are new here. So as you guys can see by the title, we have a very exciting video today, or at least I feel like it's exciting, and that is a bookshelf tour. I thought we could make this into like an annual video just so that we can see over the years how these bookshelves behind me change. Most of these books, I would say a good 80% of them have been purchased secondhand in terms of the way that they're styled and in terms of the books that we keep on these bookshelves. So in today's video, I'm just going to be taking you through every single book that my husband and I have on our shelves. Some books we have lent out to friends and family, but I have included what ones we have lent out in this video. Downstairs in this house we have a library room that also doubles as our guest bedroom, and most of our books live in this room. There are a couple upstairs which I do show you guys at the end of this video. Most of these books, I would say a good 80% of them have been purchased secondhand through annual book sales on Facebook Marketplace or thrifted in the op shops. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. Alrighty, so we'll start with this shelf here, which is all of our classics, non-fiction and memoirs. I'm just going to be showing the spines rather than the covers because I feel like otherwise we'll be here for a really long time. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes by Arthur Conan Doyle. I do actually really like this cover. I think this is quite a fun cover. Magic in the Air Junior Classics Collector's Lot by Crowell Collier. Some Ernest Hemingway selection of things here as well. Some Shakespeare up the top. So we have Romeo and Juliet, and then this one here is just like a collection of some of William's work, but it doesn't have Romeo and Juliet in there. So moving down we have all of our classics. Journey to the Center of the Earth by Jules Verne. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Plato Republic. The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Oliver Twist by Charles Dickens. The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. I do actually really like this cover. I think it's really pretty and really cute. Lord of the Flies by William Golding. Our Language by Simon Potter, or Simeon Potter, I feel like it's Simon Potter. Mysticism and Logic by Bertrand Russell. Man, Morals and Society by J.C. Flugel. 1984 by George Orwell. Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. Schneider's List by Thomas Keneally. To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. The Diary of Anne Frank. The Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. Black Beauty by Anna Sewell. At the back here we just have some selected essays by Emerson. This edition of some of Tolstoy's work. We do also have War and Peace by Leo Tolstoy as well. And then we have our little stack of Penguin classics here. Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. The Adventures of Tom Sawyer by Mark Twain. Tender is the Night by F. Scott Fitzgerald. Robinson Crusoe by Daniel Defoe. And Dracula by Bram Stoker. Then we move down to all of our memoirs. So I'll start with the big one at the back. I'm going to have to show you guys this on the ground. I do feel like this cover has faded a little bit over time. To be fair, it does have the dust jacket on it because it's meant to look like that. This is The Long Road from a Broken Heart by Jeremy Scott. My dad and I went to a talk of his, and this one is also signed as well, and it's my only book that I've got in my collection that's signed. We're a big like biking family, my family is. We have Ed Sheeran, A Visual Journey by Ed Sheeran and Philip Buter. Miles to Go by Miley Cyrus. This one is also another hardback. My Story by Elizabeth Smart with Chris Stewart. Brittany Inside the Dream by Steve Dennis. Madeline by Kate McCann. Miracle in the Andes by Nando Parado. Hello Life by Marcus Butler. The Girl Who Fell from the Sky by Emma Carey. I'm Glad My Mum Died by Jeanette McCurdy. Again, this one is also a hardback as well. My James by Ralph Bolger with Rosie Dunn. Beautiful Boy by David Sheff. A Work in Progress by Connor Franta. Bringing Down the House by Ben Mesrich. Soul Surfer by Bethany Hamilton. C.S. Lewis, A Biography by A.N. Wilson. Christian the Lion. Doesn't say who writes this one. Lion by Saru Brearley. Adrift by Tammy Oldham Ashcroft. On Writing by Stephen King. Between a Rock and a Hard Place, 127 Hours by Aaron Ralston. Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. And Not Without My Daughter by Betty Mamouni and William Hoffer. Moving down to our non-fiction here. Love You by Kimberly Crossman. The Style Book here by Elizabeth Walker. The Lux Life by Fleur de Force. Love Tanya by Tanya Burr. Quarterly Invited by Zoe Sugg. Love Is Me Buying You This Book by Waldo Pancake. This one is just like a little picture book. 1001 Little Beauty Miracles by Esme Floyd. Silk Roads by Peter Frankopan. Ellen Turning the Enigma by Andrew Hodges. Girl Boss by Sophia Amoruso. The Girl's Book of Glamour. Who writes this? A Guide to Being a Goddess. I read this when I was a teenager and I really liked this, but I don't know who writes it. Again, this is a hardback. She's on the Money by Victoria Devine. Love Stories by Trent Dalton. Again, this one is a hardback. Beyond Order by Jordan Peterson. That's the sequel to the 12 Rules for Life, I think. Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker. The Crisis of Islam by Bernard Lewis. Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. Loves Me Not, How to Keep Relationships Safe by Leslie Elliott. This book here is just like a Lush book, The Naked Truth. They just had like all of their bath bombs and stuff and all the ingredients and things in there. And then Ask Elizabeth by Elizabeth Berkley. And then moving down here we just have some other little random books. These two books here are case books for my law degree that I did in year 1. We have a couple of Phil's accounting textbooks, and then we have my legal systems structures and processes book. This beautiful edition of the Elder Scrolls Online book. It's just got like some really nice artwork and things about the game in it, and so again, it's a hardback. We just have The Wildlife Year, which just has like a lot about animals and things, and then Amazing Facts About Australia by Kat Slater. Those Phil had as a kid. So from this shelf here, we have one book on loan, which is One More Croissant for the Road by, I think it's by Felicity Cloak. Then here we have all of our Christian books. Up the top here we just have different translations of the Bible. We do also have some more translations upstairs. We also have a little marriage blessings book, which I just turned to what the date is. This first shelf here is all of our Christian non-fiction. Dispensationalism, Israel and the Church by Craig A. Blazing and Daryl L. Bock. Wisdom and Leadership by Craig Hamilton. Disciplines of a Godly Man by Hughes. Experiencing God by Henry T. Blackaby and Claude V. King. Teach Me to Feel by Courtney Reisig. Finally Alive by John Piper. Enjoying God by R.C. Sproul. Enjoying God by Chim Chester. Parables by John MacArthur. God is Enough by Ray Galea. The Cross of Christ by John Stott. Crazy Love by Francis Chan. The Passion of Jesus Christ by John Piper. Crazy Busy by... who writes this one? I always forget. Kevin DeYoung. Classical Readings in Christian Apologetics by Bush. 3 Views on Creation and Evolution by Moreland and Reynolds. Knowing God by J.I. Packer. If I Were God I'd Make Myself Clearer, and If I Were God I'd End All the Pain by John Dixon. Compared to Her by Sophie DeWitt. The Vanishing Constants by John MacArthur. True Friendship by Vaughan Roberts. Gentle and Lowly by Dane Ortland. Christianity on Trial by Colin Chapman. This is just a study guide for Revelation by John Stott. Quiet Times for Couples by Wright. And The Gospel According to Jesus by John MacArthur. Then moving down we have some C.S. Lewis and our Christian books on marriage. Mere Christianity, The Screwtape Letters and The Pilgrim's Regress. So these are part of his non-fiction works. And then we have most of the Narnia Chronicles. We're just missing book 6. Magician's Nephew, The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, The Horse and His Boy, Prince Caspian, Voyage of the Dawn Treader, and The Last Battle. Fit to be Tied by Hybels, The Meaning of Marriage by Timothy Keller or Tim Keller, Marriage That Works by Chip Ingram, When Sinners Say I Do by Harvey, Vertical Marriage by Dave and Ann Wilson, and then we have 2 copies of Preparing for Marriage God's Way by Mac, because you have like things that you can like write and stuff in them. So one of them is mine and one of them is Phil's. So this book was the book that we were going through when we were doing marriage counseling, when we were preparing to get married. And moving down, for the last couple shelves we have Christian fiction and then just like miscellaneous. So here is the entire Left Behind series by Tim LaHaye and Jerry B. Jenkins. Left Behind, Tribulation Force, Nikolai, Soul Harvest, Apollon, Assassins, The Indwelling, The Mark, Desecration, The Remnant, Armageddon, and Glorious Pairing. Then we keep our little devotional books here. So we have My Rock, My Refuge by Tim Keller. We have more like Christian fiction and then just miscellaneous on the rest. This little You'll Get Through This by Max Lucado or Lucido. This is very similar to that Marriage Blessings one up the top, but just as like a daily thing when you're going through suffering. I have some of Francine Rivers' books. So I have Redeeming Love, Sons of Encouragement, A Lineage of Grace, and The Masterpiece. Then we just have this Study on Hebrews by T&T Clark. Then we have this Australian hymn book. We have A History of the Christian Church by Walker, Brokenness, Surrender, and Holiness by Nancy Lee DeMoss. So again, on this shelf we have a mixture of like hardbacks and paperbacks, and from this shelf we are missing, is it A Quiet Place of Rest? I think it's called that, by Nancy Lee DeMoss, and that is a devotional book. The Pilgrim's Progress by John Bunyan, because we've lent it out to somebody and I cannot remember who it is. We are still trying to figure out who it was that we lent it out to. Then we have this bookshelf here, which just has all of our holiday reads, all of our thrillers, psychological thrillers, and horrors. I just have this little cozy Christmas Zoella candle, which my best friend got for me when she was in the UK. Then up here we have all of our Christmas and Halloween reads. Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. Love Light Farms by B.K. Borison. Christmas Tree Farm by Laurie Gilmore. Christmas in Quincy by Devney Perry. Christmas Shopaholic by Sophie Kinsella, Trading Christmas by Debbie McComa, and then I have The X-Hex and The Kiss Curse by Erin Sterling. So moving down, this here is all of our YA thriller. So we have standalones on this side and then series over here. Dangerous Lies and Black Ice by Becca Fitzpatrick, Summit Lake by Charlie Donnelly, 5 Survive by Holly Jackson, The Girl in the Mirror by Rose Kalili, Pretty Girl by JC Burke, The Cousins by Karen M. McManus, The Good Girl's Guide to Murder trilogy. So we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Good Girl, Bad Blood, and As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. First book in the Naturals series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, which is just called The Naturals. How to Find a Missing Girl by Victoria Willissock. I don't know. One of Us is Lying, One of Us is Next, and Two Can Keep a Secret by Karen M. McManus. First book in the Lying Game by Sarah Shepard. This one I think is book 2, it may be book 3 in the Every Breath trilogy by Ali Mani, but this one is just Every Move. And then I have the Magpie Society duology by Zoe Sugg and Amy McCulloch, 1 for Sorrow and 2 for Joy. Moving down we have psychological thriller. Again, if you guys see any books on the shelves and you're like, hey, that's not in the right genre, please let me know, because I try and keep my genres very, very specific. My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell, Dear Amy by Ellen Callahan, Truly Madly Guilty by Leanne Moriarty, Before I Go to Sleep by S.J. Watson, The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, Darling Girls by Sally Hepworth, Find Me Before They Do by J.S. Munro, Vanishing Girls by Lauren Oliver, and then we have Normal People and Conversations with Friends by Sally Rooney, Room by Emma Donoghue, and 13 Reasons Why by Jay Asher. And then I just have this little candle here, which again my best friend Rachel got for me, and it's just a blackberry and guava scent, and it literally smells incredible. Then these next 2 shelves are all adult thriller, and then I have like a mix of these like book of the month hardback books, And then I have like tall paperbacks and then just like your normal standard paperbacks. I have Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, and then The Last Word and No Exit by Taylor Adams, The Woman in the Window by AJ Finn, Breathless by Amy McCulloch, Party by Robin Harding, The Maidens by Alex Michaelides or Michaelides, I never know how to pronounce his surname, We Were Never Here by Andrea Bartz, The Girl on the Train by Paula Hawkins, The Night She Disappeared by Lisa Jewell, Nine Perfect Strangers by Leanne Moriarty, Verity by Colleen Hoover, The Arrangement by Robin Harding, The Silent Patient, again by Alex Michaelides or Michaelides, Then She Was Gone by Lisa Jewell, Playing Dead by Julia Hebelin, and then The Perfect Wife and The Girl Before by JP Delaney, Middle of the Night by Riley Sager, and then we have Gone Girl, Dark Places, and Sharp Objects, all by Gillian Flynn, and then The Force of Nature by Jane Harper, and the last one by Alexandra Olivia. Then coming down I have The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo trilogy. I think there are more books in this series. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, The Girl Who Played with Fire, and The Girl Who Kicked the Hornet's Nest. The first two books in the Housemaid series, The Housemaid and The Housemaid's Secret by Freda McFadden. This book is annotated, which is really annoying. I don't annotate my books because people borrow them, and I didn't realize that the seller I had bought it from on Facebook had annotated it because she didn't disclaim it, so that's a bit annoying. Then we just have a bunch of books by John Grisham. So we have Rogue Lawyer, The Litigators, The Street Lawyer, The Last Juror, The Associate, and The Firm. The Charm School by Nelson DeMille, The Bourne Identity by Robert Ludlum. These are two books in the James Bond series. So we have Casino Royale and Live and Let Die by Ian Fleming, Dogs of War by Frederick Forsyth, Hell No One and the Stranger by Harlan Coben, and then we have The Husband's Secret and Big Little Lies by Leanne Moriarty. Then we have all of our horror books here. This is not dust, by the way, on the ground or mold. It's literally just paint. Old splattered paint. Most of our horror stuff is Stephen King. American Psycho by Alice, and then we move into all of our Stephen King. So we have The Outsider, It, and then we have some of the Dark Tower series, not all of it. We are trying to complete this. The Gunslinger, The Wastelands, The Drawing of the Three, Wizard and Glass, Wolves of the Keller, and The Dark Tower, End of Watch, Lizzie's Story, Under the Dome, The Strand, Firestarter, Buckman Books, Carrie, and The Green Mile. I just have my little rainy day Elephant Sunny Angel sitting on the It book because it is always advertised with the person in the yellow raincoat, so I just thought that would fit really well. Last but not least, we just have the Hannibal series by Thomas Harris. So we have Red Dragon, The Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal, and Hannibal Rising. Moving over, so we have all of our science fiction, dystopian, mystery, general fiction, and historical fiction. This shelf, and this shelf are all science fiction and dystopian books. Hunger Games series up here by Suzanne Collins, Sunrise on the Reaping, The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay. And then up the top I've just got my little flower gift Sunny Angel because I want to try and match the colours of these with the Sunny Angels. A Divergent series, Divergent, Insurgent, Allegiant, and 4 by Veronica Roth. Then I have my Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer, and then as well as the first book in the Renegades trilogy as well by the same author. Cinder, Cress, Scarlet, and Winter, so they're the Lunar Chronicles, and then the first book in the Renegades, which is Renegades. The Loop trilogy by Ben Oliver, The Loop, The Block, and The Ark, and then up the top I just have this little rugby ball which was from the Rugby World Cup in France. My parents won a trip through the rock radio station and brought that back from France. The first two books in the Uglies series by Scott Westerfeld, Uglies and Pretties. The Mortal Engines Quartet by Philip Reeve. The Mortal Engines, Predator's Gold, Infernal Devices, and A Darkling Plane. The Giver by Lois Lowry, and then we have the Ready Player One duology by Ernest Cline, Ready Player One and Ready Player Two. Moving down, this is a series, so this is the Salvation Sequence series. So this is Salvation by Peter Hamilton, the Matched trilogy by Ellie Condell, Matched, Crossed, and Reached. Then I have the Delirium trilogy by Lauren Oliver, Delirium, Pandemonium, and Requiem. First book in the Fifth Wave trilogy by Rick Yancey. So the first book is obviously The Fifth Wave. The first book in the Silo trilogy, so this is Wool by Hugh Howey. First book in the Scholomance series, which is A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. First 6 books in the Gone series by Michael Grant. Gone, Hunger, Lies, Plague, Fear and Light. The June series by Frank Herbert. There's June, Messiah, I think that says, Children of June, and then Chapter House June. I think there are more books in the series, but they're just the ones that we've got at the moment. Then moving down the prequel series to I Am Number 4, and then the actual I Am Number 4 series by Pittacus Law. Generation 1, Fugitive 6, and Return to Zero. The Power of 6, The Rise of 9, The Fall of 5, The Revenge of 7, The Fate of 10, and United as 1. First 2 books in the Greenbone saga by Fonda Lee, Jade City and Jade War. The first book in the Maze Runner series, so I just have the Maze Runner by James Dashner. I have the first book in the Shadow Me series, so this is just Shadow Me by Tahara Murphy. The Martian by Andy Weir. Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. This Is How You Lose the Time War by Amel L. Motar and Max Gladstone. Mind Over Matter by Heather McQuillan. So Long and Thanks for All the Fish by Douglas Adams, as well as The Restaurant at the End of the Universe by Douglas Adams. The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. Clara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. Zoo by James Patterson, and Aurora Rising by Alan Stair Reynolds. We have all of our mystery books. The Brutal Telling by Louise Penny, Before You Knew My Name by Jacqueline Bublitz, Fashion Victim by Sam Baker, Counterfeit by Kirsten Chen, the first book in the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, so this is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco, The Guest List by Lucy Foley, Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, 2 books in the Inheritance games. I am missing the first one. We have The Hawthorne Legacy and The Final Gambit, as well as the spin-off series, which is The Brothers Hawthorne, all by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. The Descendants by Carrie Hart Hemmings, or Kai Hart Hemmings. The Dry by Jane Harper. The Client by John Grisham. 2 Russell Andrews books, so we have Aphrodite and Aquarius, and then these 2 Ben Sanders books. I'm pretty sure this is the duology and this is the series, Marshall's Law and American Blood. Then I just have this little pot with all these flowers and like these plants in pots on. This I purchased from Kmart like quite a while ago, and I really like it. I think it's really cute. Moving down, we have all of our general fiction, and I've done this in like a rainbow shelf because I don't really have to split up authors. Lauren Conrad's LA Candy. This is part of a series, but I found the other books really boring. 2 books here by Candice Bushnell, Carrie Diaries and Sex and the City. First 2 books in the Devil Wears Prada series. That one is actually fading a bit. I think I just need to maybe be a bit more watchful of pulling the curtain across. Devil Wears Prada and Chasing Harry Winston by Lauren Weisberger. Going Vintage by Lindsay Levitt. Again, I absolutely love this cover. I think it's really, really cute. My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult. Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews. A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmis. Trinkets by Kirsten Smith. The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. The Last Anniversary by Leanne Moriarty. Then we have 2 books by Frederick Bachman. Britt Marie Was Here and A Man Called Ove. What Would Mary Berry Do by Claire Sandy. Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. Just Between Friends by Rosie Nixon. Wonder by RJ Palacio. Before the Coffee Gets Cold by Toshikazu Kawaguchi. The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. Legally Blonde by Amanda Brown. Again, I really love this cover as well. It's very reminiscent of the film. 2 books by Jennifer Weiner. In Her Shoes and Best Friends Forever. Better Luck Next Time by Kate Hilton. The Yearbook Committee by Sarah Ayub. Again, I really, really love this cover here with the like old camera. Ace of Spades by Sandra Owens. Last for this shelf here, we have all of our historical fiction. City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. The Paris Library by Janet Skeslin Charles. The Forest by Edward Rutherford. Again, love this really old cover. Codename Verity by Elizabeth Wine. The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. All the Light We Cannot See by Anthony Dewar, and then two Kiwis at War Books. So one's by Susan Brockett and one's by David Hare. So we have 1914 and 1916. I think they are part of a series as well, but we've just got those two. So from this bookshelf here, we have got on loan first book in the I Am Number 4 series by Pittacus Law, which is called I Am Number 4. And then I've also got The Inheritance Games, the first book in the series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Moving across, we have all of our romance books and like romance series, and then just like author books as well. So starting at the top, I just have some of my empty Sunny Angel boxes, but I really like how the boxes look, so I've kept those. I'll take a photo of this little antique thing and I'll pop it on the screen so that you guys can see it, but it's just like a little antique cottage situation thing that was actually from my father-in-law, because he's an antiques collector and he had them in his garage, and I thought they were really cute. There's two of them and thought they'd be cute on the bookshelf. Up the top there we have my cozy fantasy books, Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson, and then Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies by Heather Fawcett. Starting off, we have all of my summer books, which kind of go from all the Emily Henry books to A Summer Affair. Then I have all of like my romance standalones. These are all romance standalones. We've got my Nicholas Sparks book here, my small town romance books, and then romance series, Sophie Kinsella books, and Colleen Hoover books. So that's kind of how that's organized in terms of structure. Happy Place, People We Meet on Vacation, and Book Lovers by Emily Henry. The first book in the Love and Gelato series by Jenna Evans Welch. Last two books in the Summer I Turned Pretty series by Jenny Hans. It's Not Summer Without You and We'll Always Have Summer. Forever Summer by Alison Knoll. Every Summer After by Carly Fortune, and A Summer Affair by Ellen Hildebrand. Moving into the romance standalones, again I've kind of done a bit of a rainbow shelf here. Eleanor Oliphant Is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman, The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Stephen Chbosky, One Day by David Nichols, The Spanish Love Deception by Elena Armas, The Hating Game by Sally Thorne, One True Loves by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Then I have The Flat Share and The Road Trip by Beth O'Leary, Love at First Spite by Anna E. Collins, All the Bright Places by Jennifer Niven, Marriage for One by Ella Mays, How to Be Single by Liz Tacilio, or Tacilio, I never know how to pronounce that, The 7-Year Slip by Ashley Poston, The Love Hypothesis by Ellie Hazelwood, This Time It's Real by Anne Liang, Hello, Goodbye and Everything in Between by Jennifer E. Smith, Loveless by Alice Oseman, Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne, and then Book Lover by Jennifer Kaufman and Karen Mack. And then I just have my little fawn cherry blossom Sunny Angel up the top there, just sitting on my pink books, and I just think he looks very, very cute. And then finishing off the romance standalones, I have The No Show and The Switch by Beth O'Leary. These are all like slightly taller paperbacks as well. 6 Days by Danny Atkins, Better Than Chocolate by Sheila Roberts, The Italian Marriage by Jenna Lo Bianco, How to Find Love in a Bookstore by Veronica Henry, Tom Lake by Anne Patchett, The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight by Jenna E. Smith. And I have some John Green, so I have Turtles All the Way Down, The Fault in Our Stars, and An Abundance of Catherines, Get a Life Chloe Brown by Talia Hibbert, 1,000 Boy Kisses by Tilly Cole, a couple of Rainbow Rowell books, so I have Fangirl and Eleanor and Park, Run by Cody Keplinger, Something Borrowed by Martina Riley, and Story of a Girl by Sarah Zar. And then we have the first of my author stacks. So I have all of my Nicholas Sparks books here. Safe Haven, Dear John, The Last Song, The Lucky One, The Rescue, The Choice, A Walk to Remember, The Guardian, Message in a Bottle, See Me, and 2 for 2. And moving down, we have my small town romance shelf. This is honestly probably one of my favorite shelves. I have my Knock 'Em Out series by Lucy Score, Things We Never Got Over, Things We Hide from the Light, and Things We Left Behind. And then I just have my little marshmallow jelly cats just sitting on the top here, and they're just super duper cute. Maple Hills series here by Hannah Grace, Icebreaker, Wildfire, and Daydream. And then then again I have 2 more Cherry Blossom Sunny Angels sitting on the top. So I have the Calico Cat and the Goat. I have the first 4 books in the Eden series, excluding the prequel, which is in the Christmas section because it's a Christmas book, by Devney Perry. Indigo Ridge, Juniper Hill, Garnet Flats and Jasper Vale. The Dream Harbour series here, excluding the Christmas one because again that's in the Christmas section. I love all of these covers here, that's why I have them all displayed. By Laurie Gilmore, Pumpkin Spice Cafe, the Cinnamon Bun Bookstore and the Strawberry Patch Pancake House. And then I just have this little figurine dude here. I thought he would work really, really well on my small town romance shelf, and I've literally had him for as long as I can remember. He may have even been a present when I was born, and I'm now 27, so this one is probably classed as an antique now. And then moving down, romance series book, Anatomy and Immortality by Dana Schwartz. I love these covers. Again, this one here, her dress like flares out to look like a heart, and then on Immortality her dress flares out to look like a brain, and I just think that is so incredibly cool. First 3 books in the Selection series by Kira Cass. Again, love these covers, and these are hardbacks as well. All of the like tall glossy editions of the original Magnolia Parks covers and Daisy Hates covers, which I absolutely love, like every single one of these books here, all by Jessa Hastings. Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home, Daisy Hates the Great Undoing, and Magnolia Parks Into the Dark. This book here by Christina Lauren, this is Tangled Up in You. This is part of a series. I think it's the Meant to Be series, but I've only got this book here. I think it's like book 3 or something. Just have this little pink vase here, which I purchased from Kmart a while ago as well, just to kind of keep all the books together. Carrying on with the romance series, Dimily series here. I'm pretty sure this is the complete Did I Mention I Love You series by Estelle Mask Games. Did I Mention I Love You? Did I Mention I Need You? Did I Mention I Miss You? And then Just Don't Mention It, which is Tyler's story, so from the guy's point of view. The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. First book in the To All the Boys I've Loved Before series, so that is literally just the title of the first one by Jenny Han. The first book in the Dreamland Billionaire series by Lauren Asher, so this one is the fine print. The first book in the Out on a Limb series by Hannah Bonham Young. Again, love this cover. It's like a glossy cover, and I just think it's really, really cute. Out on a Limb. First 3 books in the Addicted / Callaway sister series by Krista and Becca Ritchie. Addicted to You, Ricochet, and Addicted for Now. And I just have my last 2 Cherry Blossom Sunny Angels sitting on these books, so I have the sheep and the bunny. First 2 books in the Hollywood series by Taylor Jenkins Reid. The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. First book in the Funny You Should Ask duology by Alyssa Sussman of literally the same name. I have X's and O's by Amy Lee. This is the second book in the Influencer series, so I need to get the first book as well so that I've got the complete series. The first book in the Better Than the Movies duology by Lynn Painter, again of the same name. First 2 books in the Me Before You series by Jojo Moyes, so I have Me Before You and After You. The Girl Online trilogy by Zoe Sugg, so I have Girl Online on Tour, and Girl Online Going Solo. Last shelf on this bookshelf here. So we have the Shopaholic series here, which is kind of like a general fiction romance series. And then I've got a bunch of her standalones as well, so I've just put them all together. Confessions of a Shopaholic, Shopaholic Ties the Knot, Shopaholic and Sister, Shopaholic and Baby, Mini Shopaholic, Shopaholic to the Stars, and Shopaholic to the Rescue in that series. And then her standalones, I've got My Not So Perfect Life, The Undomestic Goddess, I've Got Your Number, Remember Me, 20s Girl, Love Your Life, and Finding Audrey. All of my Colleen Hoover books. So I've got a mix of series and standalones in here. It starts with us and it ends with us. Reminders of Him, Uglies, Without Merit, November 9, Confess, and then the first book in the, like, is it the Maybe Now series or the Maybe series, which is Maybe Now. I've just got this little jar here, which is a little Peter Alexander jar. I think it used to be a candle, and I've got all of my bookmarks in there. So from this shelf, we have got quite a few books on loan. So we've got Shopaholic Abroad, which is part of the Shopaholic series by Sophie Kinsella. Dash and Lily's Book of Dares by Rachel, I can't remember her surname, it starts with a C, I'm pretty sure, and David Levithan. That one potentially might actually go in the Christmas series when I get it back. Daisy Hates, so the first Daisy book in the Magnolia series by Jessa Hastings. Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. Beach Read by Emily Henry from the summer section. The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han as well from the summer section. Last but not least, we'll do our fantasy books, and then I'll take you guys upstairs and I'll show you the display books that we've got upstairs with all of their titles and things like that. This shelf, this shelf, this shelf, this shelf, and this shelf are all YA fantasy. Last two shelves are adult fantasy, and then the stack down the side is a mix of adult and YA, just kind of like overflow books. All of my Leigh Bardugo books. Shadow and Bone trilogy, which are these ones here, and then the Six of Crows duology. Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, Ruin and Rising, and then Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. We have the Fallen series by Lauren Kate. Fallen, Torment, Passion, and Rapture. I cannot remember what that series is called. I will write it on the screen, but that is House of Salt and Sorrows by Erin A. Craig. The first book here in the Raven cycle by Maggie Stiefvater, so that is the Raven Boys. The first book in the Cruel Prince trilogy by Holly Black of, again, the same name. First book in the, is it the Twin Crowns series? Twin Crowns by Catherine Doyle and Catherine Webber. Every Day by David Levithan, and there is a companion novel to that as well that I want to get. This little stack of books sitting horizontally are fantasy standalones. The Left Hand Booksellers of London by Nyx. The Strange and Beautiful Sorrows of Ava Lavender by Leslie Walton. That one is also a hardback as well. House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. The Christopher Robin movie novel, I don't know who writes that. The Queen of Hearts by Colleen Oakes, and then A Tempest of Tea by, is it Hafsa Fazal? I've probably butchered that, I apologize. So now we move back into series. All of my Harry Potter books here, and I have all the old covers, and these two here and this one here are all hardbacks with the dust jackets. Harry Potter and the Cursed Child, which is kind of like the book that comes last out of all of them, by J.K. Rowling, John Tiffany and Jack Thorne, because it's like, it's written as like a play by J.K. Rowling. So Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, Harry Potter and the I can't speak anymore. Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. And if I could display all of those books and just have a full Harry Potter shelf, I would, but as of right now, I'm very, very tight on space. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series, I am currently missing my first book. Tales of the Peculiar, all written by Ransom Riggs. I love this cover, it's really, really beautiful. Again, that one is a hardback. Hollow City, Library of Souls, The Map of Days, The Conference of the Birds, and The Desolations of Devil's Acre. Some Stephanie Garber books here. So I have the first two books in the Caraval series, and then I have the complete Once Upon a Broken Heart series as well. Caraval Legendary, so that's the Caraval books that I've got. Once Upon a Broken Heart, The Ballad of Never After, and A Curse for True Love, which is the complete Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy. The Letters of Enchantment series, I am missing book 2 by Rebecca Ross, but I have got Divine Rivals, the Infernal Devices series, the Mortal Instruments series, and I'll write on the screen what the other one is because I cannot remember off the top of my head. And then I also have the Bane Chronicles as well. So I have Clockwork Angel, Clockwork Prince, and Clockwork Princess. So again, Infernal Devices, all by Cassandra Clare, in case I didn't say. City of Bones, City of Ashes, City of Glass, City of Fallen Angels, City of Lost Souls, and City of Heavenly Fire, all Mortal Instruments. Chain of Iron, again the series that I can't remember the name of that will be on the screen. The Bane Chronicles as well. So they're all in like the Mortal Instruments world. I do also have Swordcatcher by Cassandra Clare as well, which is her newest book. Hush Hush series by Becca Fitzpatrick. Hush Hush, Crescendo, Silence, and Finale. This one is also a hardback. I have the first book in the Die For Me trilogy by Amy Plum. Again, would love to get all the other covers. Again, I love these covers. I think they're so incredibly cool. Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Again, just the first book. The first two books in the Beautiful Creatures series by Garcia Stoll. Beautiful Creatures Creatures and Beautiful Darkness. I have To Kill a Kingdom by Alexander Christo. Again, I love this cover. I think it's so incredibly fun. Moving down, again, this is probably my second favorite shelf. A bunch of like Sarah J Maas, and then I have my Lauren Roberts books here. So I am so incredibly thankful and blessed that I have these white covers of these books, because I absolutely love these editions of Throne of Glass. It took me ages to try and collect all of them because I got them all separately secondhand. The Assassin's Blade, Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, Heir of Fire, Queen of Shadows, Empire of Storms, Tower of Dawn, and Kingdom of Ash. ACOTAR series. She is looking a little bit sad at the moment because I have got some books on loan from the series. A Court of Thorns and Roses, A Court of Frost and Starlight, and A Court of Silver Flames. I have my Crescent City series, which I absolutely love. These are some of my newest editions. I'll put some photos on the side of the screen because inside each of these books here they have some cover art, and it is just stunning. Again, they're like all the hardbacks as well. House of Earth and Blood, House of Sky and Breath, House of Flame and Shadow. Then I have my last little antique cottage thing. I really wanted this to sit next to my ACOTAR books because I feel like it very much encaptures the like Beauty and the Beast kind of vibe with like the dome and the cottage and the flowers and whatnot. Powerless. Technically trilogy. There are little novellas. I think there is one more novella coming as well. Powerless, Powerful, Reckless, and Fearless. Moving down here, this is probably my third favorite shelf that I have on my bookshelf just because I love these being displayed here. So obviously I have all of my Twilight books, I have some vampire books, and then I do have one book by Stephanie Meyer at the back there as well because I didn't really know where else to put it. The standard covers, the old OG covers of the Twilight series, Twilight, New Moon, Eclipse, the little novella, The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner. I put that next to Eclipse because you get Bree Tanner in Eclipse only. Breaking Dawn and Midnight Sun. These are probably, again, two of my favorite books that I own. Twilight graphic novels for the first movies by Stephanie Meyer, and the art is by Young Kim. Again, they're like hardcovers as well. This hardcover here, which is the official illustrated guide by Stephanie Meyer. This is just kind of like a deep dive into the world. This book here is The Host by Stephanie Meyer. First 8 books in the Vampire Diaries series by L.J. Smith. So I have books 1 and 2, which is The Awakening and the Struggle. Books 3 and 4, which is The Fury and the Reunion. Book 5, which is Nightfall. Book 6, which is Shadow and Souls. Book 7, which is Midnight. And Book 8, which is Phantom. Our adult fantasy books. Complete, as of right now, me filming this video, Imperium series by Rebecca Yarros. Fourth Wing, Iron Flame, and Onyx Storm. There are some books on the shelf that have bookmarks in them because I'm currently reading them. I just put them back on the shelf for the sake of this video. First book in the, is it the Crowns of... No, is that right? Yes, no it is. I don't know why I thought that was wrong. The Crowns of Nyaxia series by Carissa Broadbent. Serpent and Wings of the Night. Galliant by V.E. Schwab. The completed Bloodsworn trilogy by John Gwynne. Shadow of the Night, The Hunger of the Gods, and then The Fury of the Gods. I don't know what this series is called. I will write it on the screen, as well as the standalone book, all by Joe Abercrombie. The Blade itself, and Before They Are Hanged, those are in the series, and then we have Red Country. And then we also have this one, Half a King by Joe Abercrombie. The Atlas 6 by Olivia Blake. First book in the Shepherd King duology, which is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. Some books in the Mistborn series. The Final Empire. The Bands of Mourning, which I think is the spin-off. And then we have Mistborn Secret History, all by Brandon Sanderson. First 4 books in the Plated Prisoner series by Raven Kennedy. Guild, Gleam, Glint, and Glow. This shelf here. All of our Game of Thrones series by George R.R. Martin. Game of Thrones, A Clash of Kings, Storm of Swords, Steel and Snow, A Storm of Swords, Blood and Gold, A Feast for Crows, and A Dance with Dragons. Some books here by J.R.R. Tolkien. World of the Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, and Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. And then we also have the Silmarillion. Anne Rice books, Pandora, Violin, Memnoch the Devil. These are part of the Vampire Chronicles. We have most of the Witcher books by... I cannot pronounce this, but that author. The Last Wish, Time of Contempt, Baptism of Fire, The Tower of Swallows, The Lady of the Lake, Season of Storms, and Sword of Destiny. First book in the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy by V.E. Schwab. Again, that is literally just the same name. The Empire of the Vampire series by J. Kristoff. Empire of the Vampire, and then Empire of the Damned. We'll go through this little stack in the corner here, so I'll work our way down. Good Omens by Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman, that is a standalone. An Elder Scrolls book, which is The Infernal City by Greg Keyes, that I'm pretty sure is a standalone book. Book 3 and book 4 of the Tales of Alvin Maker series by Orson Scott Card, Prentice Alvin, and then book 4, which is Alvin Journeyman. Then we have some Raymond E. Feist, Magician, A Darkness of something, I can't read that, and Silverthorn. The Wheel of Time books, they're like really old covers. Again, we are missing book 1, 2, 4, and then if there's any after book 8 by Robert Jordan. Book 3, which is The Dragon Reborn. Book 5, which is The Fires of Heaven. Book 6, Lord of Chaos, I think that says. That is so faded, I can only just read that. Book 7, Crown of Swords. Book 8, The Path of Daggers. The Golden Compass series by Philip Pullman. Northern Lights, The Amber Spyglass, and The Subtle Knife. Book 2 and 3 in the Red Queen trilogy. I do have book 1, it's just on loan, by Victoria Aveyard. So we have Glass Sword and King's Cage. 2 books in the Secret Shanghai series. There are 2 books before these, I think. Fell Lady Fortune and Fell Heart Huntsman. This again is a hardcover, so it feels really, really nice. On this shelf here we are missing a few books. Hunted by Megan Spooner. First book in the Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children series by Ransom Riggs, which is literally what the name of the book is called. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Ruthless Vows, which is the second and last book in the Letters of Enchantment series. That is literally it for all of the books on our bookshelf. So we have a couple of book stacks up here in our living room. So this is the first one. These 3 here are all hardbacks, whilst this one here is a paperback. Insta Style by Tezza. 2 Lauren Conrad books. So we have Style and Beauty, and then Tanya Burr's Tanya's Christmas book. Again, these are all non-fiction as well. Last but not least, this is the other stack of books that we have got upstairs. These are all like hardcovers, and this one is a cloth-bound book as well, which is really nice. All non-fiction. Simply Spaced by Lead. The Joyful Home, that's just one you can get at Kmart. In Love with Paris by Anne Catherine Weber, and then Greek Mythology by Paul Hamlin. So there we go, guys. That is my completed bookshelf tour. Hope that you guys have enjoyed seeing all of the books that we have on our shelves. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Please make sure to turn on the notifications and check out my social media. It's always linked down below in the description box. If you guys would like to watch more like book related videos, I have a playlist on my channel called Reading, so I will leave that playlist down below. And other than that, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!